Have you ever felt like your own thoughts are kind of working against you? Like you're stuck in this negative loop that you just can't seem to shake? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. And today, we're going to explore a really powerful tool that can help you break that exact cycle. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. We're going to unpack what it is, how it works, and why it's considered such a game changer for so many people. So, you ready to change your mind and maybe even your world? Let's get into it. I mean, really think about it. Have you ever been trapped on that mental hamster wheel? That one nagging negative thought just playing on repeat, kind of casting a shadow over everything else you're trying to do? It's a surprisingly common feeling, and it's the perfect place to start our journey into CBT. So this right here, this is the cycle that can keep us stuck. It all starts with a single unhelpful thought. Then that thought triggers a negative feeling, a jolt of anxiety, a wave of sadness. And that feeling, well, that's what pushes us into an action, or maybe inaction, that just ends up reinforcing that original thought. It's a vicious circle, and man, it can be tough to escape. But here's the really cool part. What if you could actually take control of that cycle? What if you could learn how to press pause, look at the script, and just rewrite it? That is the fundamental promise of cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a skill that can honestly change everything. Okay, so what exactly is CBT? What's the core idea that makes it so powerful? Let's break it down. At its heart, CBT is built on this really simple but profound idea. Our thoughts shape our reality. This isn't just about talking about your problems. It's about actively rolling up your sleeves and changing the thought patterns that cause them. It's about building a better way of living, starting from the inside out. And it's all based on these three core beliefs, which are incredibly empowering when you think about them. First, it just acknowledges that, sometimes our own thinking patterns are what's causing us pain. Second, and this is the hopeful part, it says we're not stuck. We can actually learn new, better ways of thinking. And third, it shows that by creating these new mental habits, we can find real relief and start acting in ways that actually help us. All right, so we've got the what. Now, let's get to the really exciting part, the how. How does CBT actually get under the hood and help rewire the way our brains respond to things? Well, think of it like this. While some therapies might feel like an archaeological dig into your past, CBT is more like a practical, hands-on workshop for your present. It's less concerned with the why you feel a certain way and much more focused on what you can do about it right now. It takes a hard look at your current thoughts and asks a really direct question. Hey, is this thought actually helping you? CBT really zooms in on what are called cognitive distortions. These are those sneaky, automatic thoughts that kind of warp how we see reality. The ones like catastrophizing, where a tiny mistake suddenly feels like the absolute end of the world, or all or nothing thinking, where if something isn't perfect, it's a complete failure. CBT gives you the tools to spot these distortions and say, wait a minute. Okay, let's make this super concrete with a real-world example that, let's be honest, a lot of us can probably relate to. A phobia of the dentist. It's a classic case that shows the power of CBT perfectly. So, for someone with this phobia, that automatic thought can be incredibly powerful, right? Because I had one bad experience, every single trip to the dentist from now on is going to be a nightmare. That is a classic cognitive distortion, taking one single event and letting it define all future possibilities. Now, a CBT therapist wouldn't just talk about the fear. They'd help the person actively challenge that thought. They'd ask questions like, okay, is it really a 100% guarantee that every visit will be painful? Then they'd work together on a plan to face that fear in tiny, manageable steps. Maybe step 1 is just calling the office. Step 2 is sitting in the waiting room. It's all about breaking it down so it's not so overwhelming. And this brings us to the really empowering part of CBT, the actual skills you walk away with. It's like you're building your very own mental health toolkit. So what's inside? Let's take a look. See, the whole point of CBT is to eventually make you your own therapist. You learn to become a sort of thought detective, spotting those unhelpful thoughts as they pop up and then questioning them. You get really good at telling the difference between what's an actual fact and what's just a story your mind is telling you. And that skill alone helps you find a much more balanced and helpful way of seeing the world. And like I said, CBT is a doing therapy, not just a talking one. You'll use hands-on strategies like role-playing tough conversations to build confidence, keeping a thought journal to see your patterns, and learning simple relaxation techniques to calm your body down. And yeah, there's homework, because the real change happens when you take these skills from the therapy room out into your everyday life. So why is CBT so incredibly common? Why do you hear about it all the time? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It really works, and there is a ton of proof to back that up. One of the most amazing things about CBT is just how versatile it is. I mean, it's not a one-trick pony. Research has shown it's incredibly effective for a huge range of challenges, from depression and anxiety disorders to PTSD, eating disorders, and so much more. It's a really flexible approach that can be tailored to fit what you're going through. And get this isn't some new age fad. CBT has been around for over 50 years, and in all that time, it's been researched, tested, and refined again and again. The result is a massive mountain of scientific evidence that shows pretty clearly that this stuff is effective. In fact, the evidence is so strong that a major academic journal has called CBT, and I quote, the current gold standard of psychotherapy. Now, that's not just a nice compliment. That's a powerful statement about how life-changing this approach can be. So what gives it that gold standard status? Well, it's really a trifecta of reasons. First, as we said, it's backed by a ton of scientific research. Second, no other therapy has been proven to be systematically better. And third, its whole approach just fits perfectly with our modern understanding of how the human brain and behavior work. Bottom line, it's the real deal. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. But if there is just one single thing you take away from our time together today, I really hope it's this. The core message of CBT is one of profound empowerment. It's the idea that you are the author of your own story. By learning how to challenge and reframe your unhelpful thoughts, you can literally rewrite the script of your life and create a future with more peace and purpose. And so I'll leave you with a little challenge. What's just one automatic thought that you could gently question today? It might feel like a small step, but it's exactly those small steps that can lead to a lifetime of change. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into CBT. Now go out there and change your mind.